the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, the Dean of Students representing the Vice Chancellor, Professor Rosalina Tremantin, our proud alumni, Master of the Great Hall, Mensa Saba Hall, the Hall Master of Mensa Saba, and his management team. I welcome you all for this great event. This is a special day. Indeed, one of us has a story to tell about the hall. And it is my utmost pleasure to welcome you all to this event. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation to be part of these celebrations. This hall has been home to all of us at some point in our lives. When we took the decision to come to the University of Ghana, the Mensa Saba Hall was the hall that we chose to be our home on this campus. Indeed, there are so many stories to tell. I'm sure that in this great hall, we formed great friendships, which have birthed businesses and generations. I bet many of you men here found your missing ribs right here in this great hall. And this particular partnerships that you formed have birthed great generations that are going to blaze the trail in time to come. Today marks the beginning of a year-long celebration of our 60th anniversary. And it is a day that we unveil the statue of the great John Mensah Saba. My name is Theodora Adame Ajintete, and it is my singular honor to welcome you all once again. I'll be your MC for this day. Let's begin it all with an opening prayer by the chaplain of the Mensa Saba Hall, Reverend Joseph Yao Asaninto.
Almighty Father, we have gathered, O God, this afternoon, thanking you for your grace and your mercies that is upon us. We bless your holy name for the gift of life and even the common union that we share. We commit our events both in this room and outside into your hands. We pray that, Lord, may it be successful and fruitful to your own glory. We thank you and we bless you. We know that you will be with us throughout this event to glorify your holy name. We have prayed this in the name of Jesus Christ, who is our Lord and Savior. Amen.
The theme of our anniversary celebrations is re-engineering quality residential services, adopting technology, embracing partnerships. In line with this theme, we all have gathered here to think about ways in which we can support this great hall to be a better hall. Indeed, Mensa Saba Hall is the greatest hall on this campus. We have achieved a lot, and we have every cause to be proud of our achievements. But we also believe that the years to come hold opportunities for us to even realize better in terms of the achievements that we want to realize. I also believe that your presence here means a lot to you. It shows the magnitude of love you have for this great hall. If Mensa Saba, yesterday I said somewhere that if Mensa Saba were a human being, she would be retiring. But just like the ship that I saw with the inscription Viking on the Stockholm archipelago, I know that we are sailing, we continue to sail, and we are sailing to greater heights, greater accomplishments. I'm happy that you are here. It is time for us to have a word from the alumni president, and by way of introduction, ladies and gentlemen, He is going to be the chair of this ceremony or occasion. He is the representative of the Volta Regional Council of State. He is also an industrialist, philanthropist, with a desire and thirst for establishing businesses. Our chair has 14 businesses in his name. Described by many as a petroleum magnate, our chair has led many of his organizations that he has founded. As CEO, chairman, he is the founder and chief executive of Fraga Oil Company Limited. He is also the chief executive officer of the Francis Nyonyo Foundation, energy consult on human rights and environmental protection. Holding true to the values of Mensa Sabahol, knowledge, honor, and service, our chair is also the president of Mensa Sabahol Alumni Association. May I, ladies and gentlemen, invite here His Eminence Francis Albert Seth Nyonyo.
Hello. Good afternoon to all. His Excellency, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Nanaba Amfo, the past students, alumni of Mensa Sabahol, fellows of Mensa Sabahol, provosts and deans, and my Vikings, distinguished invitees, my brother, Dr. Ibn Chamba, and other dignitaries, and my friends, Sampoli is here, Deputy Minister for Aviation, and Aminata, Minister designated for Finance Ministry, MP, Honorable MP for this constituency, fellow members, and the former Vice Chancellor, Professor Ayite, also is in our midst here, and you are welcome to join us. Ladies and gentlemen, my thanks go to the Dr. Roger Atinga and all his team members for organizing today's launching of the Saba at 60. This coincides with the unveiling of the Saba Statute. And I call on all of you to join me to occupy the chair to grace this occasion to the successful end. And I call on the alumni, the Vikings, to help us to continue to be rendering our faithful support for the Sabahol in various projects that we embark on. Especially, we were the pace setters and were able to construct Viking Hostel, which is reducing the University of Ghana deficit of accommodations. And I appeal to all our members and supporters and the Vice President team here today. By their visit, they will contribute meaningfully to support our infrastructure deficits. Today, Vice President is part of our Sabah Hall Vikings, because by affiliation you can become a member. This opportunity to thank my Vikings for their enthusiastic support shown during the mobilization of resources to rebuild the Sabah status. We are grateful for all of you, and we thank you, and help us to celebrate, launch the Sabah at 60 and celebrate it in October as the plan. Sabah's year celebration is not only limited for only Sabah's year. The university as a whole had launched the 75th anniversary for this year. So whilst we do this, we also must be mindful that our contribution must be extended to the whole family. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, His Eminence. Everybody who has been invited today is very important to this occasion, but I see a number of people that I deem it important to acknowledge. And in no particular order, I would like us to acknowledge Professor Adai Mensah, former Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, and foundation member of Mensah Sabah Hall. He is a pioneer indeed. And I would like us to acknowledge Mrs. Betty Mould Idrisu, former Attorney General. You know we are the best. We have another former Attorney General, Madam Gloria Akufu. And then I also see Madam Esther Koba, my mama. She is the CEO of Stratcom Africa. And indeed, he was in my department as well. And then I see Professor Ernest Aite, former VC and a proud Viking. I also see the MP for Ayawaso West Ogon, where University of Ghana is located. You didn't even allow me to mention her name. Honorable Lydia Al-Hassan. And then we have the Mensah Sabah family here. Shall we acknowledge them, please? So as time goes on, I will also acknowledge all of you whose names have not been mentioned yet. So just before I do what I'm about to do, I'd like to also acknowledge Professor Akosa, former Director General, Ghana Health Service. We have our landlord here. And so I'd like to invite him, our hall master, the hall master of Mensah Sabah Hall, Dr. Roger Ayimbila Atinga, for his welcome remarks.
Good afternoon to you all, and a very warm welcome to this special anniversary lunch of our 60th anniversary. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Alhaji Mahmudu Bawumia, distinguished guest of honor, Your Excellency Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, one of the finest diplomats of the land of Ghana. Our distinguished alumni president and chair of this special occasion is His Eminence Albert Seth Francis Yonyo, former Vice Chancellors of the University of Ghana, Professor Ivan Adai-Mensah and Professor Aite. We appreciate your presence here. The Dean of Students representing the Vice Chancellor of the University, honorable members of Parliament, especially our dear mother sister, Honorable Lydia, we appreciate your presence. The Municipal Chief of Ayawaso West, Wugon, Provosts, Deans and Directors, Heads of Departments and Units, colleagues, Heads of Halls, Faculty and staff of the University of Ghana, Fellows, tutors and staff of the Mensa Sabah Hall, invited guests, the media present this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great delight to welcome all of you to this evening, a gathering setting the foundation for a year-long celebration of the 60th anniversary of our great Mensa Sabah Hall. This indeed is the moment of opportunity to recollect our past achievements and cherish the future. I am extremely grateful that I have been part of two epoch history of this great hall. First, as a student in 2003 when the hall celebrated its 40th anniversary, and now as a hall master when we are 60 years old. 60 years, people say it's a retirement age, but it's not. Because WHO has said that at age 60, you are still young. So let's appreciate that age. 60 years is indeed a significant milestone. We have come a long way of nurturing and growing the ideals of knowledge, honor, and service. We have come a long way in building a unique tradition that defines us as Vikings. In 60 years, we have seen significant expansion of the hall from the main hall at inception to 4 annexes, and now the all-new ultra-modern New Vikings Hostel. Thanks to the great efforts of our high-spirited alumni who contributed to building this hostel. In 60 years, we have produced considerable number of notable statesmen, traditional rulers, Supreme Court judges, juries, academics, religious leaders, honorable politicians, engineers, and business tycoons. The profile and introduction tells it all. This is worth celebrating. Our 60th anniversary theme is redefining quality residential services, adapting technology, embracing partnership. The theme of this celebration was carefully crafted to guide our collective efforts at building and sustaining quality residential services. The COVID-19 pandemic has taught us the absolute necessity of building strong and sustainable digital systems. We seek to use this platform to promote quality digital services in the hall, to improve upon students' experiences in academics, research, and participation in virtual classes and programs. Our academic and residential infrastructure have deteriorated over time, due to growing student numbers. Just this academic year, for example, we have added 200 beds to the male and female blocks of the main hall. The aim is to offset the accommodation deficits on campus. This is further overburdening the existing residential facilities. The old pipes, tiles, and walls of the washroom, which over 60 years have been used extensively, need some kind of replacement. For this reason, we are seeking partnership and collaboration with individuals, organizations, and corporate bodies to enable us modernize rooms, our washrooms, places of convenience, and maintain a healthy environment that supports healthy life for sound academic pursuits. Our objective of the 60th anniversary is to raise funds and implement 7 key projects. The first is to renovate students' washrooms, like I said, which have seen deterioration over time due to increasing student numbers. Modernization of the reading rooms in the hall, including the annexes, expansion of internet coverage, installation of CCTV cameras to minimize crimes, to convert the ICT center into a digital incubation hub, and then to construct a mentorship garden that will facilitate student engagement. And the last one is to tile the first floor of the main hall to improve upon hygiene in the hall. With your support, cooperation, and commitment, we will deliver value-based services to our students. And I can assure you that every penny donated for the intended projects outlined above for this anniversary will be used judiciously and accounted for. Before I conclude, Mr. Chairman, I would like to thank some notable alumni who are here with us. In fact, they have been so selfless. They have been so committed to steering the affairs of this hall, especially the giant John Mensah Saba statue that you saw outside there. Let me appreciate them. They are not in any particular order. The first is our alumni president, His Eminence Albert Seth Francis Yonyo. Professor Kwesi Yanka, who was the Pro-Vice Chancellor when I was a student here. Honorable Idrisu, Nana Amo Adade Buama, aka Tom Sawyer. We appreciate it so much. Without the contributions and efforts and leadership of those I've mentioned, that project wouldn't have come to fruition. This is a signal to all other Vikings that there's a lot to offer for the hall. We are proud of all Vikings. You have been so instrumental in reinforcing our slogan, the pace setters. Saba Hall sets the pace for others to follow. If you cannot compete with us, please join us. You are welcome. We are very grateful to you for the show of love for this great hall. To all my staff, before I commit a mortal sin, a sin that's unforgivable, I have to acknowledge the contributions of Her Excellency Difie Ajako Kusi. Your Excellency, don't worry. I wanted to acknowledge in a very special manner. So that there's always something to clap in between. To all my staff, fellows, and alumni, let's continue to stand together. Let's continue to be united to tackle our challenges head on. Our visit to the John Mensah Saba family showed us one thing, that unity is key to achieving common goals. We are proud of the John Mensah Saba family who are here with us. And we want to thank you for the reception that you granted us when we visited you. With a short notice, they quickly organized themselves and offers us good refreshment and good lunch. Thank you very much. Please, anytime you are in Saba Hall, this is your home. This is your home. It is this spirit of fellowship that is crucial in moving our great world forward in the next 60 years. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to be present with us this afternoon to make this 60th anniversary lunch a very memorable one. A warm welcome once again and happy 60th anniversary to all Vikings. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hall Master Dr. Roger Attinga. Indeed, you mentioned that we have produced the most vice chancellors and provises. I have to say that the list continues to roll because the current vice chancellor is a proud Viking. Maybe the next and the next and the next and the next. All right. So I'd like to acknowledge once again a few people. We have the first female JCR president of Mensah Saba Hall here. Her name is Madam Patience Dorona Hammond. And then we have Honorable Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, MP for Karaga and Deputy Minister of Energy. Honorable Hassan Tampuli, MP for Gusheku and Deputy Minister for Transport. And then we have Mr. Ben Abdallah Banda, Presidential Coordinator for Zongo and Inner Cities. Our students are a key stakeholder in Mensah Saba Hall. At this juncture, I would like to invite JCR representative Mr. Francis Chunibua Kodia up here.
Good afternoon to us all. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Alumni President, Hall Management, all invited guests, lecturers, past JCR executives present, students, friends from the media, all other protocols duly observed. It's been 60 years of impact. Mensah Saba Hall, which started as the only co-ed hall in University of Ghana, has come a long way, churning out industrious alumni, gallant sportsmen and women, students of good academic standing, to mention but just a few. It is with a pride that I am a resident of Mensah Saba Hall. Student leadership of this hall over the years have taken great strides in student-related projects to complement the existing infrastructure of the hall. Some of these are notice boards, ceiling fans in the inner rooms, refurbishment of reading and TV rooms, and organizing various programs to help students gain experience and have a feel of entertainment. Various committees under the Junior Common Room have served in diverse capacities to ensure the well-being of the student body, from organizing tutorial UGRC sessions to health and clean-up exercises. Mensa Sabah JCL also has a place in 6 decades of pace-setting assistance. We can rightly boast of an outstanding sports team which is currently partaking in the ongoing inter-hall games, not forgetting our hard-working staff who are always on their feet to make the hall a comfortable place for us. Not to talk of the hard work of management members to ensure a conducive environment for the junior members in our prestigious hall. As we mark 6 decades of existence of this great hall, we encourage each and every Viking to come on board to support the hall in improving residential facilities. We wish our noble hall a happy 60th anniversary. Long live Mensa Sabah Hall JCL, long live Mensa Sabah Hall, long live University of Ghana, long live Mother Ghana. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chunibu Akodia. I know that there are other hall management team members here. So at the moment, we have the Volta Hall warden, Dr. Margaret Amankwapoku, with us. And I would like to welcome her and every other hall management member who is here to come and join us celebrate. Honorable Sandra Owusu-Ahenkra is the Municipal Chief Executive of Ayabaso West Bogon. She's here with us as well. Thank you very much, Madam. So now we have a performance from one of the best in the world, I must say, the Mensa Sabah Hall Cadet Corps. Shall we have you perform? Do your wonders for us this afternoon. Shall we clap for them, please? All right. I hope they are coming. Okay. So I should go. So while we wait for them, I think we have to make good use of the time. So I would like to invite our remarks from our distinguished alumnus. And let me give a brief introduction. Our distinguished alumnus to give us remarks is a politician, lawyer, diplomat, and academic. He served previously as Special Representative of the United Nations Secretary General for West Africa. He also served as the Joint Special Representative of the African Union United Nations Hybrid Operation in Darfur. And prior to his leadership in the ACP, which he had already undertaken, he served as president of the 50-member Economic Community of West African States. Ladies and gentlemen, shall we welcome Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. The chairman for the occasion, my very good friend and brother, His Eminence Tugbe Nyonyo. Allow me to stand on the protocol very elaborately established, while acknowledging, of course, the presence here of His Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic, Alhaji Dr. Mahmudu Bawumia, who has done us great honor in coming to Sabah Hall today to grace this occasion. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. I also want to acknowledge and other former Vice Chancellors who are here should excuse me, because one Vice Chancellor, when I entered Sabah Hall as a first year student, was my tutor. And he's here, so you can imagine that on an occasion like that, I would like to acknowledge my tutor, Professor Adai Mensah. Now, when the history of the Ministry of Justice and the Office of Attorney General comes to be written by the historians later, what will be recorded is that one hall among all the halls in the universities of Ghana has produced 2 female ministers of justice and Attorney General. And they are here, my sisters Gloria and Betty, and we should acknowledge them. When Professor Kwesi Yankah and Honorable Betty Mode approached me to be at this event today, it came with a caveat. Auntie Betty said, Chambo, we won't accept any excuse. Don't come and tell us that there's election in Nigeria or someplace. So I assured her that I'll definitely be here, and indeed, it is my greatest honor and privilege to be here with you all today as we commemorate the 60th anniversary of our great hall, Mensah Sabah Hall, and also unveil the bust of John Mensah Sabah, a truly remarkable man, a great son of our nation and of Africa. Today is a day to celebrate and to pay homage to John Mensah Sabah. I could provide you with a chronological retelling of his life's story, the key moments in it, starting with his birth in 1864 as the eldest son of a Cape Coast merchant who progressed through his education at the Cape Coast Wesleyan College to Taunton School and his entrance into Lincoln Inn, both in the UK, and his eventual return home, upon which he continued to establish himself as a man of excellence. However, what I would rather do is highlight the main elements of his character and journey that typify the nature of the man in himself and which justifies the honor that was done him 60 years ago in naming this hall after him. John Mensah Sabah was evidently a man of vision, dedication, commitment, and achievement, placing his earliest academic achievement in historical context. The undoubted difficulties of navigating late 19th century Britain as a black man originating then from the Gold Coast cannot go unnoticed. While facing those social and racial dynamics, Sabah persisted through his time at Taunton College and entered into Lincoln Inn, eventually becoming the first African man born in the Gold Coast to qualify as a barrister. That same sense of commitment and pursuit of academic excellence was demonstrated by Sabah in his relentless support for the educational system here in the Gold Coast on his return. When the Wesleyan Mission closed down the Cape Coast Wesleyan School, where he himself had been educated, he joined forces with other proud nationalists to revive, refinance, and re-establish it as the collegiate school. This school, in addition to the Fanti Public Schools Limited, which he co-founded and promoted with William Edward Sam, formed the foundation of Mfantsipim School as we know it. To date, those of us privileged to have had an Mfantsipim education remain ever so grateful to this extremely revered of old boys. His commitment to the school did not end at that point. He funded a scholarship at the school and went as far as helping to pay staff salaries at moments when the school found itself in dire financial straits. He also helped to establish the Fanti National Educational Fund, aimed solely at improving the country's educational facilities and capacity to educate its native citizens. Saba's future-oriented thinking is neatly encapsulated by the motto he gave to our alma mater in Mfantsipim School, Dwin Hwekan, meaning think and look ahead. Bringing our minds back to the geopolitical configurations of the world at the time in which he lived, his ability to foresee and arrive at a future for himself in which he was not confined or constrained by the limitations of the colonial construction's designated position for blacks and indigenous people all over the colonized world, stands as proof of his own capacity to not just envision that which he had not been achieved before, but to actively strive to bring it about. His far-seeing outlook was not limited to his individual future. He and his compatriots saw the value in engaging with global movements which aligned with his anti-imperialist and pan-Africanist beliefs, movements which were undertaking the necessary tracks of rewriting the dominant narratives and scripts which governed and reinforced the forces of oppression. This brings us to perhaps the most important element of his persona, which was his deep pride in his identity as an African, a native of the Gold Coast, and a Fanti man. This pride was the root of his efforts to protect the rights and interests of the indigenous peoples of the Gold Coast and his co-founding of the Aborigines Right Protection Society. He played an instrumental role in the efforts to block the introduction of the Lands Bill of 1894 and 1897. He argued for the religious and spiritual significance of land and its essential role in the preservation of familial and social ties within indigenous communities. He thus prevented the alienation of African land, which happened and entrenched the injustices of the subjugation of African peoples in other colonies and protectorates, such as, for instance, in Kenya and Southern Africa. He saved that from that fate. He was deeply invested in preserving the already existent legal systems which had governed the lives and activities of natives of the Gold Coast in pre-colonial times. His efforts were central to the retention of elements of customary law within Ghana's legal system, which ensured that to this day, Our legal framework is not entirely made up of foreign-born ideas, instruments, and processes. Interrogating what Saba's legacy could mean for us today becomes easier once we understand the parallels between the times in which he lived and our current situation. Now, just as then, we find ourselves in trying times. While the era of outright colonial rule is thankfully behind us, the new colonial matrix and imbalance of power that characterize current international dynamics bear a striking resemblance to the invisible forces that drove and ordered the world in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. We must therefore look to Saba as an inspiration. As he did, we must engage with the indigenous knowledge and wisdom that provides the central basis of our identity. We must innovate, rethink, and re-envision futures for ourselves and our country that deviate from the normal. Perhaps most importantly, we must draw deep into and access a truer and deeper sense of patriotic loyalty, a love for this country that will drive us all to act in its best interest and not the narrow, parochial, or sectional interests. It cannot be business as usual. When a former Chief Justice, and I might add, Chair of Council of the University of Ghana, takes to picket lines, then there's no question. Kromayashi. Kromayashi. And John Mensah Saba might have added Ampara Kromayashi. The moment is now to rally all to build broad national consensus and national compact for political and socio-economic transformation. Today, we are back to the IMF for the 17th time. We are still primarily a raw material exporting economy in an international system in which African agency remains limited. From these few words I have said about John Mensah Saba, it should be evident that he is not a man whose bust or statue should be desecrated. Such an act is sacrilegious, it is taboo, especially in the academy such as the University of Ghana is. And many of us were saddened when we heard that indeed some elements on our campus had done exactly that. We are gathered here to restore the dignity of a national icon and to reassert the outstanding contributions of John Mensah Saba to the foundation of education in this country. We also wish to reaffirm his stature as a pioneer nationalist and Pan-Africanist. And we are here to commit ourselves to the noble ideals that he stood and fought for. Above all, we are here today to say to the world that never again, never again will such act of infamy be visited upon such an illustrious personality as the great John Mensah Saba. Never again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We have here with us some past hall masters of Mensah Saba Hall, including Professor Kwesi Yanka and Dr. James Adomako. We also have vice masters, Professor Josephine Jahini Kwashi and Professor Rosalina Tremartin, who is also Dean of Student Affairs. Just a quick one. We have the alumni chairperson in the person of Mrs. Doris Ansan. That's the University of Ghana alumni chairperson is with us. Thank you, Madam, for joining us. And then my own lecturer, Professor Bona Kumsin, is also here. So this event has been possible because of a team led by the chair in the person of Dr. Stephen Brimer. He's going to give us a presentation of the year-long program for our anniversary. Dr. Brimer, please.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, His Eminence Francis Albert said, Nyonyo, our special guest of honor, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, allow me to stand on the existing protocols. 60 years is in a long time in the life of anybody, but in the life of Mensa Sabah Hall, a great hall like us, we are only 60 years young. We have a lot more years ahead of us. And for this year that we are celebrating our 60th anniversary, it's not just going to be a lunch, it is a whole year program of activities that would involve all our relevant stakeholders. So, we actually started this year-long celebration by a visit to Cape Coast, to the family house of John Mensa Sabah. So we are indeed grateful that the family has joined us this afternoon to launch the program. But after this launch and unveiling, we have a number of activities that we have lined up. Let me give you highlights of some of them. We would have some public lectures that is going to run within the year. We would have some site visits. It's good to tour, right? We are celebrating after all. We would have some health programs, some health talks, some health screening. It is critical. This day we see gone too soon. We want to avoid that, so we have some health screening as well. We'll have some games. We have homecoming by alumni. The climax of our activities would be a dinner and awards night later on in this year. But as we started today with a prayer, it means we understand the role of God in our activities. So our final event within the year would be a Thanksgiving service for both the Christians and the Muslim for a successful year. But it's not just about celebration only. We want to make sure that by the time we are done with our 60th anniversary celebrations, we have some legacy to remember. And we have two projects in mind. We want to set up an endowment fund as a 60th anniversary project. That will be a legacy for the hall. But not just that. We've all heard what our guest speakers have said about John Mensa Sabah. I would think that the least he deserves is to institute an annual public lecture in his honor. So these are two projects that we hope to establish as a legacy for our 60th anniversary. So we are all invited to join our programs within the year. You get more details and get a fuller list of our projects. Thank you.
Ọ̀kíjà, Aya Ọmọta, Aya Okonet, Aya Milanet, Aya Eminent, Aya Baromia.
We want to thank the 2025 leader of this country, and who, if he had been educated in the University of Ghana, would have been in Mensa Saba or Dr. Manu Baromia. Let's also Baromia 2025. We also want to acknowledge our father, our everything, who has supported us in terms of turbulences, difficulties. He has always been with us, and he is the president. After the president of Ghana, the only original president we have is the president of Mensa Saba Alumni Association, His Eminence Francis Nana Rizzo. And we also want to acknowledge the Vice Chancellor, the Dean of Students. They are all bikers and they are all open. Thank you very much. Easy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You can give them a clap. So before the musical performance was a performance by the Air Force cadets of the Mensa Sabah Hall. At this point, I would like to invite the Dean of Student Affairs, Professor Rosina Tremanting, who is representing the Vice Chancellor, to give her address.
Thank you. Good afternoon. VC is a little indisposed and so has asked me to present her address on her behalf. And I must add that I also entered the four walls of this hall 35 years ago. And Sabah Hall has contributed immensely to who I am today. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the Alumni President of Mensa Sabah Hall, Your Eminence, Ministers of State, Honorable Members of Parliament, MC Ayawaso West Wogan, invited guests, former Vice Chancellors, Nananum, Nime, Name, faculty, alumni, staff, and students, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me much pleasure to be here again, this time to participate in the launch of the 60th anniversary of the Mensa Sabah Hall. It was barely 3 months ago when I had the opportunity to come here to witness the colorful installation of your hall master, Dr. Roger Attinga. I'm happy to note that as a hall, you did not give your new hall master any time for honeymooning. Rather, you got him to hit the ground running by imposing the organization of the 60th anniversary of the hall on him. I am aware already that a lot of effort has gone into the planning of the anniversary program, including this launch. I would like to commend the cooperation you have extended to the hall master since he assumed office a few months ago. The 60th anniversary of the Mensa Sabah Hall coincides with the university's 75th anniversary this year. I am convinced that a lot can be learned together and shared between the planning committee and the 75th anniversary planning committee of the university. Such mutual learning will go a long way to ensure seamless and successful celebrations, both at the hall and the university levels. The theme for your 60th anniversary, re-engineering quality residential services, adopting technology, embracing partnership, highlights an important issue that has engaged the university management over the years. The ever-soaring student enrollment numbers and the limited spaces for accommodating students compel the university to look for sustainable residential options that maximize the use of the available residential spaces. In line with such consideration, the university, through the academic board, approved the current residential policy that prioritizes fresh students. The new policy, among other aims, seeks to address the challenges fresh students, some of whom have no contacts in Accra, go through when they report to school for the first time. I must admit, however, that even with the policy, a huge number of fresh students could still not be accommodated due to limited spaces. This is a situation we cannot continue to normalize. A re-engineering of the residential system is therefore critical to ensuring that this perennial challenge is completely addressed to make student life and learning most enriching. Congratulations to you, Mensa Sabah, for leading the pace in the residential system re-engineering agenda through technology and partnerships. As management, we will continue to explore various possibilities to expand and enrich the residential system, and will seek always to do so in close collaboration with the halls and various interested partners. I wish you a successful 60th anniversary launch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. As the Nigerians will say, we have an august visitor in our midst. So far, I haven't mentioned his name. But this is somebody who is very busy. But when we called upon him, he took time off his busy schedule to be with us. He is the second citizen of the Republic of Ghana. He needs no further introduction. Shall we welcome His Excellency Dr.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tescon. Please sit down, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's good to be young. There's a lot of nostalgic feeling. Not too long from here, there will be the future professors, the future vice presidents and presidents. Thank you very much. The chairman, who's a member of the Council of State and alumni president, His Eminence Francis Nyonyo Tobe, as we call him, ministers of state, members of parliament, especially our member of parliament for Ayawasu Westwick Wogon, Lydia Sewam Al-Hassan, provosts, deans, fellows of Sabah, but in particular let me mention the Dean of Student Affairs, representing the Vice Chancellor here, Professor Chemanting, the Hall Master Sabah Hall and his colleagues, His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Ibn Chambers, former President of the ECOWAS Commission, When I look in this hall, I see the who is who of Ghana seated right here. It's difficult to mention everybody. Because you look here, you see Professor Avanantai Mensah, Professor Akosa, Professor N.S. Ayiti, Betty Muridisu, Gloria Akufu, Professor Yanka, there's a who is who. I can't mention all, but that tells you what Sabah has done for Ghana. The family of John Mensah Saba, students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by thanking the university, the Sabah Hall authorities, and the alumni of Sabah for extending this rare invitation to me to be the special guest of honor at the launch of Sabah Hall's 60th anniversary. I'm touched by the opportunity created to bring together the entire Sabah Hall family, students, alumni, fellows, including the family of John Mensah Saba himself, to hold court at the feet of your great mentor, our great mentor, on the occasion of your 60th anniversary. Such opportunities for dialogue among various generations of the Sabah Hall family are precious and should be jealously guarded. They foster institutional cohesion and produce a synergy between the older and younger generations, which should inevitably yield new visions, revitalize the university, and propel it to move abreast with the times. Indeed, this is also an opportunity to congratulate the university and Mensah Sabah Hall for astutely clinging to a residential system which has been jolted over the years by student agitation and upheavals and cries for a dynamic transformation. Today, the university has moved beyond the traditional halls of residence, of which 5 were built from the early 1950s to 1963. It is not an accident of history that Mensah Saba Hall in 1963, which is incidentally the year I was born, it is not an accident that Mensah Saba Hall in 1963 became the youngest and the last traditional hall of residence to be built by this university. What has been added since then, I'm told, are hostels, which are a combination of private and university initiatives and operate on different administrative protocols. I am happy to note that out of these new initiatives is another housing innovation, which none other but the alumni of Mensah Saba take full credit. I refer to the initiatives of the Sabah Hall alumni in establishing the first ever hostel emerging from a hall of residence. The Viking Hostel, established in 2021 and built through contributions of Sabah Hall alumni, is a shining example of innovative leadership worthy of emulation by Hall-based alumni in various universities. It speaks to the unity of purpose and a sense of institutional commitment within the traditional hall system, and it finds utmost fulfillment when the love of hall mutates into the love of university, and the love of university mutates into the love of country. It is this sense of patriotism that works positively on the nation at large and can be easily harnessed for economic development. But it is ideal if the commitment to residences is safely shepherded and insulated against a gradual descent into a world of mischief, waywardness, hooliganism, and sometimes sheer criminality. Let the residential life instill the virtues of diligence, brotherhood, and selfless service. And let these virtues encourage the passion to leave behind footprints that are worthy of emulation by future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, bear in mind at all times that a sound residential experience is not an end in itself, but a catalyst driving sound academic output. I urge Saba Hall on the occasion of your 60th anniversary to continue to be a nursery for leadership, considering the several distinguished alumni you have produced in the past 60 years. Continue to pave the way for the younger ones and set a good example for the next generation of students. I say all this for a good reason. The sense of academic freedom in universities is sometimes mistaken for a license to leave behind all courtesies and decorum instilled by guardians and the world out there. To many, university life is a great opportunity for uncontrolled deviation from social norms and the assumption of freedoms without associated responsibilities. Fortunately, this hall has an august mentor, John Mensah Saba, a personality whose life and ideals should provide a blueprint for the younger generation of students. In fact, if I had my way, every high school student must study John Mensah Saba. That history will tell you what leadership and sacrifice is all about. It's not for nothing that the first president of Ghana, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, considered John Mensah Saba as a great historical personage after whom this new hall should be named in 1963. Ghana's forefathers were attracted by Saba's vision for education, his fight for the preservation of indigenous institutions, and his quest for equity and justice. But there was one guiding principle of Saba that has impacted my own life and that of government. Mensah Saba's commitment to the ideal of thinking ahead. When he founded Amfansipin in 1876 as the first secondary school in the country, he gave it a motto which should be relevant to all institutions of learning and governance. The motto was, think and look ahead. Dream they can. A government and its people should always think ahead of their time and look into the future. This is a vision that has shaped my own personality, compelling us all to play our own part in building institutions that generate new thinking, new ideas, modernizing political and economic governance. The Mensah Saba vision is what drives our agenda for digitalization and raises the issues of how we can modernize the residential systems to cope with the increasing demand for tertiary education, and how can digitalization be deployed to eliminate congestion, security breaches, and unauthorized entry to university campuses and halls of residence. Today, campuses throughout the world cannot be simple thoroughfares where students freely mix with unauthorized intruders on campus, who may be there to perpetrate crimes and commit offenses wrongly attributed to students. John Mensah Saba simply says the University of Ghana think and look ahead and digitalize access to classrooms, labs, halls of residence, and hostels. What of academic fraud and the shameful leakage of exam papers at various levels? John Mensah Saba says, think and look ahead and digitalize access to exams and university facilities. Indeed, by simply complying with the Saba vision alone, our country should jump ahead of its time and be at the forefront of the digital revolution and contemporary education. We have a lot to be thankful for the life of John Mensah Saba. And on this note, let me congratulate Mensah Saba Hall on your 60th anniversary and thank you for making me a part of this great family. God bless you and God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Indeed, Jane Shekan, and that is why our theme for our 60th anniversary celebrations is, and take notes because I'm going to conduct a quiz after this, re-engineering quality residential services, adopting technology, embracing partnerships. Think about it and to make this a reality. Thank you very much. So we get to one of the highlights of this event. When we were put together as a team to think about how we can celebrate this day, one of the things that we came up with was to put together a call for logos that would represent our anniversary celebrations and the vision of the hall and so on. We had a number of submissions, and at the end of the deadline, or at the close of deadline, we selected one. This afternoon, as part of this occasion, we are going to unveil this phenomenal work that has been done by somebody who will be duly acknowledged very soon. But in the meantime, Your Excellency, may I call upon you and our Mensah Saba Hall Alumni President, please. Thank you very much, and everybody is going to see it pretty soon. So here comes the logo. And I'm going to give a brief... Could we give a clap, please? The logo is beautiful, isn't it? Oh, you don't like the logo? Please let me feel that you like the logo. All right, so let me just give a brief explanation of the inspiration behind the logo. So you see that leafy thing around? Yeah, it is called the Regal of Greatness. And it reflects Mensa Hall's greatness. It is colored in blue and gold, which indicates confidence, security, glory, and power the hall has built over time, or harnessed over time. And then the intersection of the 6 and 0 represents the partnerships. You realize our theme includes partnership. So it represents partnerships to seek, to build. And then the gold border extending from the 0, so I'm sure you're looking. The gold border extending from the 0 through to the 6 represents the hall's desire to collaborate with partners that take greater heights. I see something that looks like a technology, the wheel of technology. And you know, one of the university is to deploy technology in everything that you do. So we are hoping to, or we seek to adopt technology to provide quality residential services. And the ring closing in on the name of the hall, you see a ring closing in on the name, it indicates the dynamic ways the hall seeks to engage with partners. And then the blue ring, with 2 knots closing in on the year, represents additional advances the hall intends to bring on board for phase 8. So now we get to the time where we acknowledge the brain behind this design. So the vetting committee, made up of the chair of the 60th anniversary committee, Dr. Bama, the hall master, Dr. Roger Atinga, and the communications committee, a member of the communications team or the communications committee, who is also the director of public affairs, Madame Elysia Ameyabonya, and then the chief hall assistants, Mr. Martin Awini, and a fellow of the Mensa Saba Hall, Dr. Abigail Ayuglo Kuwonu. They made up the logo vetting committee. The winning logo was conceptualized and designed by Mr. Jeremiah Bradford Lamte. Can we give him a clap, please? So Mr. Lamte is soon to graduate. He's yet to graduate. And he studied actuarial science. Yes. And he's currently doing his national service at the Petroleum Commission of Ghana. May I call upon Professor Kwesi Yankah to do us the honors of presenting the certificate of citation. Is it here? So Mr. Lamte wins a prize package as well. It's going to be presented later. We don't want... All right, the certificate is yet to arrive. So Prof. Yankah, could you please at least shake hands with him for us? Shall we give him a round of applause, please? Thank you very much. So we get to the end, or nearly the end, of part 1 of the program. The second part is the unveiling of the John Mensah Saba statue, which is going to take place outside. May I call upon Dr. Yvonne Agbochwa-Medo. I hope I did it well. Deputy Senior Tutor of Mensah Saba Hall, to give us the expression of gratitude.
Mr. Chairman, His Eminence Francis Seth Nyunyum, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, and all protocols duly observed. I deem it great honor and privilege to offer the vote of thanks on this memorable occasion. First of all, I thank for provision for making today's event a resounding success. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for steering affairs of this event to a successful end. I thank our special guests of honor, the Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And our special thanks also goes to our distinguished alumnus, Dr. Ibn Chambers. Our former Vice Chancellor is present, Vice Chancellor, all dignitaries, thank you so much for taking your time off your busy schedules to be here to celebrate with us. We are very, very grateful. My thanks goes to the family of John Mensah Saba. We are so grateful that you took the time to travel all the way from Cape Coast. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much for being with us. An event of this dimension cannot happen overnight. The wheel started rolling months in advance. It requires meticulous planning and execution and an eye for details. The hall has been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of a very motivated and dedicated committee under the chairmanship of Dr. Brahma, who know their job and are result-oriented. I cannot thank everybody enough for their involvement, the shown and the willingness they have expressed to take on the completion of the task beyond their comfort zone. Thank you very much. I owe special gratitude to all staff who have worked so hard to ensure that this occasion becomes a memorable one. We can't thank you enough. Fellow Vikings, alumni, special invited guests, students, friends of the media or from the media, other halls present, thank you for being with us. Now, let me make a special mention. We all know that the youth of these days, they don't lend helping hand. If they should see an old man carrying a bucket of water, they would easily pass by. But what did I witness? A couple of young men and women, some not from Saba Hall, came to help us on the lawn to beautify the place. If these younger women are around here, can you please be on your feet? Okay, they might be outside. Yes, that's one of them. Thank you so much. We are privileged to have such quality of students in our midst who do what the others would not do. Thank you, young man. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Akpenami, merci beaucoup. Tax Kaniha. Thank you and thank you indeed.
Thank you very much, Doc. We have the alumni organizer, Dr. Sadiq of Radio Universe. He's here with us. Dr. Sadiq, thank you very much for joining us. At this point, may we all stand for the national anthem, after which we'll go for the next part. Thank you very much. May we keep standing while members of the high table file past. So we are all moving. We are all moving to the forecourt of Mensa Sabah Hall for the unveiling. And don't forget to take pictures with our logo, our anniversary logo, as well as the statue when you are out there.
Thank you. Hello, good evening. Big voice. You know, this year has just been important anniversary that the university celebrates. The university celebrates 75 years. Sabah Hall, the youngest hall, provides 4 residential facilities. It's 60 years old. But just imagine a great opportunity like this, inviting or invoking the presence of our ancestors, of the forerunners, the precursors, the pioneers of this university, of this hall. The University of Ghana decided to celebrate the 75th anniversary. Decided to celebrate the 75th anniversary without past students seeking to come home. But coming home, they ought to come home to monuments that make them relax and make them feel at home. Imagine the University of Ghana without the Ivory Tower, for which we are known. And imagine Mesa Sabah Hall without a monument representing the ancestors and the past role models that made us what we are. But this is exactly what was going to happen. We all know what happened a year ago when, under the cover of darkness, one hall that we shall not name, decided to lock horns with our well-behaved Mesa Sabah Hall. Yes! There was a brawl. In the course of the brawl, when our boys had completely retired, they took cover under darkness and decided to run amok and deprive the university of the vestiges, the icons that the university is better known for. The Mesa Sabah Hall bust, installed where we are speaking at the moment, was stolen by individuals who haven't identified yet and whom we shall identify. They bolted away with the icon, our monument, in a way that hurt us the most. If at war your monuments are captured, you are gone. So decided to hit us below the belt, declaring Sabah Hall non-existent virtually. But you know what? The reason why I particularly was interested in what was happening, and I could have called the chief mourner, was simply that 20 years ago, February 2002, where we are standing at the moment, the very spot, I was the hall master. We masterminded the crafting of a Sabah bust. When the bust was ready, those guests who were invited by the hall joined us to commission the bust. It was Dr. Kwesi Kofi, then former Finance and Economic Planning Minister for the NDC movement. He happily came, along with the then chairman of the entire Education Commission, Professor Anfo. Where we are standing now, we cut the tape and cut the sword for the commission. It was commissioned by the two gentlemen. So imagine how I felt that the bus that Kwesi and I and the Bansafum collectively commissioned had been stolen under the cover of darkness. I immediately took that as a personal assault on our collective mental, and an assault also on the university and the hall in general. We started rallying support from alumni all over the world. And just imagine the number of celebrities that met at our first meeting. The first meeting was held in East Legon at a party that had been organized by Uganda. Incidentally. But they may have seen us talking. There were 5 of us. My good self, Tom Sawyer of Africa. Is Tom Sawyer here? I guess who else was there? Dr. Eben Chamas. Wow. And we first informed all we know to take decisions on behalf of the hall. The person we missed at that material moment was the Minister Saba or the Yasa. Betty Moldridge. Betty, are you here? We meet you at the meeting. But we conspired right in the presence of our adversaries that in the shortest possible time the past ought to be restored. Then came a much bigger idea brought on by Tom Sawyer of Africa. He said, considering the status and the stature of Mr. Saba, we ought to go beyond the bust with grand statue. There was instant unanimity on that suggestion. So we set up a committee chaired by Betty Idrisu in the shortest possible time, rally supper all alumni throughout the world to ensure that the giant statue restores what we have missed or lost. So then, knowing that our friends and brothers and sisters are scattered all over the world, by dint of the social media, the news was all over. So we started getting calls from Texas. What happened here? Call from Texas. Tom Sawyer himself traveled to Virginia and virtually grabbed a gongo in Virginia, beating the gongo, rallying all past Vikings to contribute. I myself later went to Boston and I met the boy of Kansi.